This is a photo of my uncle saluting to a statue of a prominent politician in Mongolia. And he's drunk out of his mind. It's ironic that he's saluting to this particular politician because he was one of the leaders of a peaceful revolution in Mongolia. In 1990, the year I was born, Mongolia made its transition from a socialist to a democratic regime. Although this transition period is described by many cliched terms such as the birth of the free market and capitalism, it was unarguably one of the hardest periods in our history, marked by deep economic depression and social despair. Shortage of work, food, and hope was prevalent. Because of this dramatic political and social change, which inflicted an utter loss of control and chaos, some people in Mongolia turned to alcohol. And one of those people was my uncle. Older family members still remember the time when he was sober, had a good job, and used to spoil us with nice gifts and attention. But all I can remember is him being dragged home by the police who found him passed out in a park or terrorizing us in the middle of the night with his drunken rage. Whenever he drinks, he turns mean and hateful. He lies and steals to support his addiction. It's like he turns into a different person when alcohol is in him. Over the years, my uncle became my father's, my mother's, my brother's, and my responsibility to take care of. I used to think that he's a bad person who continues to make poor choices at the expense of us. Curious to explore this weak and depraved side of humanity, I chose to study psychology when I arrived in the US. Only then I understood that addiction has nothing to do with morality or self-determination, and that it's a disease that needs to be treated. I understood that people who are struggling with addiction does not deserve to be left alone to fend for themselves. They don't deserve to be ousted by the society and ignored by the government. The more I thought of my uncle, the more I started to realize that alcoholism in Mongolia is a public health issue that has reached an epidemic level after the transition. I concluded that in order to improve the public health and wellness of my people, the fundamental issue of development has to be addressed first. After all, people turn to alcohol because of an economic instability, poor welfare, and unemployment. Therefore, I have decided to study in international development in graduate school. Today, alcoholism is not as prevalent as it used to be, but the social perception and attitude towards alcoholism has not changed much. There is a lack of affordable and accessible rehabilitation facilities, and all of the burden of addiction still falls on the families. Due to his years of drinking, my uncle looks like he's in his 70s, even though he's only in his late 50s. He has a speech slur and uses a cane to walk because his central nervous system is damaged. But he continues to drink. Every day, my father worries that he will receive a call from the police telling him that something had happened to my uncle. I hope to go back home before that phone call and do something for my uncle and other people like him.